Hey everyone, I'm Bee. Welcome back to Read and Roam, the channel where we learn about text and how it fits into our world. Today we're at my local library because I've been wanting to learn more about tornadoes. Since there are so many books here, I figured this would be a great way to teach you all about how knowing the different types of text can help you find the right one to read. I know I'm excited to get exploring. Let's get started. So there are clearly a lot of books in a library like this. So how do we even start to figure out what we're looking at? Usually, text can be broken down into two main categories, fiction and nonfiction. Fiction texts are made-up stories, and nonfiction is true fact. We'll be diving into both of these types of texts today, but let's start with one you'll likely be the most familiar with, stories. What kind of stories do you like to read or listen to? Do you like fantasy, action, mysteries? Authors usually create stories to entertain readers. Stories usually have characters and a storyline and some sort of interesting problem or idea. Libraries are full of fiction, like stories, but what about all these other books? Not all of these books are stories, so what else can we find here? We know the other type of text is called nonfiction, but I want to teach you about a type of nonfiction called informational text. Let's break down the word informational. It contains inform, which means to teach, and information, meaning facts or knowledge. Based on that, what do you think informational text might be? Informational texts are texts that are written to give the reader facts or knowledge about a certain topic. Let's look at an example. This is an informational text about an animal called an axolotl. Axolotls are a type of salamander that live in water their whole lives. Originally, wild axolotls were found in one lake in Mexico. Axolotls live in fresh water, which means they could not survive in salt water like the ocean. Today, axolotls are critically endangered and are rare in the wild, but many people keep them as pets all over the world. That text was super informative. Notice how this book teaches us true facts about a topic? That's how we know this is an informational text. Did you notice those pictures? Sometimes books include pictures to help us learn, but not all books with visuals are informational. You have to look at the words in order to tell. Libraries are full of both informational text and fictional stories, and it's important to be able to tell the difference between them. So, what are the main differences? Let's use a chart to record them. First, pause here to record the differences you remember in the chart. Then we'll review. The biggest difference to remember is that informational texts present readers with true facts, while stories are made up. Informational text is written to teach readers something, and stories are usually written to entertain readers. If you need to pause here to finish the chart in your notes, do that now. Now it's time for you to practice recognizing those differences. I'm going to show you some texts, and you're going to sort them based on if they are an informational text or a story. The first example of text we're looking at is from The Secret Zoo by Brian Chick. Here it is. Megan raced across her backyard to the tree fort. The wind snapped her pajamas, and the stiff grass pricked her bare feet. At the tree trunk, she grabbed the ladder and peered up. Do you think this is a story or an informational text? It's a story. We can tell because there are characters and a storyline. We also aren't being taught about a specific topic using true facts. Since this is a made-up story, we'll add it to our chart as an example. Here's another text. This one is from a book called The National Parks by D.K. Denali National Park and Preserve is one of Alaska's most visited and well-known national parks. With only one road and millions of acres of wilderness, the park and preserve are home to a wide variety of plants and animals. What do you think about this one? Story or informational text? It's an informational text. We learned about Denali National Park through the facts. Let's add this example to the informational text category in our chart. For this last part, let's take a look at two different texts side by side. Remember how I came here to learn more about tornadoes? Well, that's what both of these texts are about. Let's read them, then you'll decide which is a story and which is informational. Here's the first text from Twister on Tuesday by Mary Pope Osborne. With all his might, Jack held on to Annie and pulled her along. The roaring Twister came closer and closer. The wind ripped up grass and earth around them. The roar grew deafening. And here's the second from a book called Tornadoes by Gail Gibbons. Tornadoes begin inside storm clouds called cumulonimbus clouds, which are made of warm, moist air. These large, dark clouds can grow to be tall and enormous. There is lightning, thunder, rain, hail, and high winds. Now that we've read both passages, what do you think? Even though both texts feature the same topic, only this one presents true facts, while this story is made up. What book would you suggest I read if I want to learn more facts about tornadoes? This one will definitely be the one I check out to learn more. Now let's get these sorted into our chart. Pause the video here to fill out the rest of the chart in your notes and draw lines from each book cover to where they belong. Here's what it should look like in your notes. Great! This will be a handy chart for you to refer back to if you ever need help deciding if a text is a story or informational. Today, we learned about informational texts and how they differ from stories. We learned that stories are fiction and made up by the author to entertain readers. And we learned that informational texts are types of nonfiction that use true facts to teach the reader about a certain topic. Knowing the difference between stories and informational texts helps you choose the right kind of book, whether you're reading for fun or learning something new. I can't wait to see you next time when we'll dive deeper into informational text. Remember, where there are words, there's a world to explore. I'll see you next time.
Hey, hey.